He set down the wine jar, sighed deeply, and said, "Fortunately, I'm clever enough to come up with an extreme method to resist this poison. I practiced dual cultivation with the female cultivator, using the stimulation of physical desires to prevent my cultivation from dissipating. This also kept the poison trapped in the desire for immortality, which has allowed me to delay it until now." A cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes, revealing a deep killing intent. He looked up at the starry sky, and for this Phoenix Luan star, which had caused so much harm to Situ Nan, his murderous intent surged like a tidal wave. "Is there any glimpse of nirvana on Phoenix Luan star?" Wang Lin asked slowly. Situ Nan shook his head and replied, "There is no glimpse of nirvana. At most there is only the mid-pure nirvana stage. There aren't even late-stage or perfect-stage cultivators. However, there are quite a few pure nirvana cultivators on Phoenix Luan star, and with the additional help from outsiders, there are more than 10 in total." A cold smile appeared on Wang Lin's face as he nodded and said solemnly, "This grudge must be avenged, but compared to revenge, the key is how to cure your poison." Situ Nan's eyes flickered, and he said, "I have a plan for this. From what I know, the women on Phoenix Luan star only have the poison, but no antidote. The real antidote should be in the immortal realm. We just need to wait for the Rain Immortal world to open again. Once it does, we can enter the Rain Immortal world and perhaps find it there." Immortal realm? Was this poison refined in the Rain Immortal world? Wang Lin's expression shifted slightly as he asked. Situ Nen nodded and said, "The records I found in ancient texts confirm that this poison was indeed refined in the Rain Immortal world." Wang Lin fell into deep thought. He still had the immortal jade pagoda that Zhou Yi had given him, and inside it lay the corpse of the immortal Lord Qing Shuang, who was the immortal lord of the Rain Immortal world. All the clues from back then point to the fact that in the most mysterious cave dwelling in the land of demonic spirits, there is a strong possibility that the former strongest immortal emperor, Qing Lin, resides there. Qing Lin is the father of Qing Shuang. There might be a way to revive him. Once Qing Shuang is revived, breaking this poison will be easy. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with sharpness as he looked at Situ Nan and slowly said, "Perhaps we don't need to go to the Rain Immortal world to find the antidote." He immediately shared everything he had seen and heard in the land of demonic spirits with Situ Nan and explained his analysis. As Situ Nan listened, a strange light flashed in his eyes. After Wang Lin finished speaking, he thought for a moment before laughing loudly. "Sounds good. I'll go all in. Even if it doesn't work out, if you go to the land of demonic spirits, I was planning to join you anyway. Now it seems, if we succeed, it'll be a double win. As for Phoenix Luan star, they won't escape." Wang Lin's eyes were filled with intense killing intent. His nature was to avoid conflict unless provoked, but Phoenix Luan star had caused Situ Nen so much harm, which had crossed his bottom line. He and Situ Nen talked late into the night atop the cliff, drinking together until dawn. Situ Nen downed the last jar of wine from his storage pouch, looked at Wang Lin for a long while, and then chuckled. "I say, little Lin, have you finally wised up?" Wang Lin froze for a moment, instinctively touching his nose, somewhat confused by Situ Nan's words. "Don't pretend to be clueless. Your purpose for coming to Water Spirit Star, if it weren't for those two girls, I wouldn't believe it." Situ Nen grinned slyly. "I was going to take those two girls as concubines for you, but I didn't expect you to act faster than me and come to Water Spirit Star already. They say the early bird catches the worm, but I still have to teach you a lesson. You're not that young anymore, and you're playing this chasing game. If it were me, I would have just kidnapped them and settled it. Once it's done, it doesn't matter if they agree or not. Even if they don't want to, they'd still have to." Situ Nan snorted and added, "When I was still the Vermilion Bird Patriarch, I did this kind of thing countless times. If I liked someone, I'd take them, and no one dared to say no." Wang Lin smiled bitterly. He knew Situ Nan all too well, and he didn't doubt the man's words. Situ Nan was indeed capable of such things. Clearing his throat a few times, Wang Lin shook his head and said, "Those two juniors, I don't have any other intentions. It's just that one of them has some connection to me, but it's not a Dao companion bond." At this point, Wang Lin's expression became a little somber. He thought of Li Muwen, who was in the escape heaven coffin, and the complicated emotions, even tinged with a bit of pain, that were stirred by Lu Mei. Lu Mei should not have died. Wang Lin stared at the sky. Since returning to the Alliance Star Domain, he had felt this intuitively, a kind of vague sensation of the future, a feeling gained after cultivating for over 1,000 years and reaching the second step. Situ Nin noticed the deep sorrow hidden in Wang Lin's eyes and couldn't help but sigh inwardly. He knew a bit about Wang Lin and Li Muin's situation, which was why he had gone to such lengths to find a suitable female cultivator for Wang Lin, hoping to help him move on from that sorrow. What he didn't know was that, before Wang Lin's sorrow could subside, Lu Mei had stabbed him deeply, causing an irreparable wound to his soul, a pain that would be etched into his heart forever. Wang Lin's life, when it came to love, was steeped in sorrow. Li Muin's departure taught him the value of cherishing someone, but by the time he understood it, the one he wanted to cherish was already gone. That kind of life, staring up at the star-filled sky, utterly alone in soul and body, is something only those who've truly lived it can comprehend. Outsiders, at best, grasp a mere fraction of its weight. His entanglement with Willow Eyebrows left a pain that pierced him to his core. It took him 100 years to dispel Wang Ping's resentment, yet the pain in his own heart never faded. Lifting the last wine jar from the table, Wang Lin took a fierce swig, slammed it down with a loud bang, and burst into laughter. Situ, you told me once, this cultivation world is ruthless, a place where the weak are prey to the strong. One misstep, and you're dead. If you want to survive, you have to be cruel, venomous even. Only by becoming ruthless can one be worthy of living. In these 1,300 years of cultivation, I, Wang Lin, have learned cruelty, learned how to kill, and learned to endure solitude. But what I've lost is far, far more. I've lost my parents. I've lost my kin. I've lost the one I loved. I've lost my child. I've lost all joy. I've lost everything. Sometimes I ask myself, what is it I've been chasing all this time? Situ Nan was silent. He stared at Wang Lin, opened his mouth, but no words came out. The always arrogant and domineering Situ Nan felt his heart quake at every word Wang Lin spoke. When my parents died, I was overcome with grief and rage, but I was powerless. All I could do was turn that pain into demonic fire, waiting for the day it would erupt. When Li Muin died, I couldn't defy the heavens, couldn't pull her back from the cycle of reincarnation. All I could do was watch her slowly grow old and fade away. And you don't even know? Willow Eyebrows and I, by a cruel twist of fate, conceived a child. But what she returned to me was a grudge infant, a being filled with centuries of hatred, born of our blood, cursing its own father. All of it, came because I chose the path of cultivation. If I hadn't, yes, I'd be dust by now, long buried. But the tragedies of this world wouldn't have chosen me as their stage. Wang Lin's face twisted in bitter anguish. These were things he had never told anyone. In this world, there was only one person he could bear this 1,000-year torment to. Only one, Situ. Only the man who had watched him rise from a naive youth, who had led him onto the path of cultivation, and who had walked with him even as he left Vermilion-Bird Star. Only that Situ. In silence, Situ Nin picked up a wine jar and handed it to Wang Lin. Wang Lin took it and drank deep once more, laughing loudly. Even when drinking, a cultivator can't get drunk. His laughter spread through the air, but woven into it was an unspoken sorrow, a quiet grief. If you want to be drunk, then I'll let you be drunk. Situ Nin slapped his storage pouch and took out a purple jade wine bottle, placing it on the table. This wine was brewed in the immortal realm. Not much of it remains. I only acquired it by chance. It won't boost your cultivation, but one sip is enough to make you feel what it was like for mortals to be drunk. Situ Nin pushed the bottle toward him. Wang Lin, with me here, tonight, you can be drunk. Wang Lin grabbed the bottle without a glance and took a hard swig. The moment the immortal wine hit his throat, a sharp heat surged up from his belly, spreading like fire through his entire body. Cultivation, cultivation. Situ, do you know what I once heard when I returned the bones of an old friend to his homeland? Wang Lin raised the bottle and drank again, a deep bitterness rising in his eyes. Apricot trees bloom white flowers. Raise no daughter in a Taoist house. Last year, Erlang climbed the hill. This year, Only his cold corpse returns. The daughter's cries accompany the dead, and the coffin becomes her home. Apricot trees bloom white flowers. Children, beware the Taoist path. Ask my age, I'll say I have no fate with the Tao. A dog's bark, a cat's scratch, enough to scare the Taoist back to his village. This nursery rhyme spilled from Wang Lin's mouth, filled with sorrow, with a helpless understanding forged from over 1,300 years of cultivation. As it entered Situ Nan's ears, his hand trembled slightly. 1,300 years of cultivation. Countless brushes with death. All of it for the level I've reached today. Was it worth it? I don't dare ask myself. Not truly. I don't dare imagine the joy I might have had I not chosen the Tao. Because I've already stepped onto the path of cultivation. The moment you take that step, turning back becomes near impossible. Too many things bind you in place. You have no choice but to keep going. If your heart falters, then the Tao can no longer be followed. Situ, I have a son. You never. On this day, as the grand formation of Tianyun sect on Tianyun Star was activated, several invitation letters personally written by Tianyunzi were tossed out with a wave of his sleeve. Immediately, all the old monsters across the entire Tianyun Star who were qualified to enter the land of demon spirits received the invitations. 10 days later, the East Sea Tidal Zone will open. Enter the Immortals' Cave Mansion. The invitation only had this one line, but it stirred up a tremendous storm among all who received it. The fact that there was an Immortals' Cave Mansion within the land of demon spirits was no longer a secret among these old monsters. Almost all of them knew a little about it, and some even speculated that an immortal might still be alive within that cave. This immortal was widely believed to be the immortal Emperor Wang Lin from the past. But it was only speculation, as there was no concrete evidence to confirm this. Nevertheless, the shock it caused among the old monsters was enough to make their long-dormant hearts race, their blood boiling. Inside the immortal mansion, there were vast amounts of immortal treasures and immortal arts. This alone was enough to attract these old monsters. But it wasn't the only thing that drew them in. What truly excited the top old monsters was the possibility of an immortal's presence inside. If this immortal was truly the immortal Emperor Wang Lin, the most powerful being of the 4 immortal realms back in the day, there might be a chance to uncover the ultimate secret of the 3rd step of cultivation. That was what stirred the hearts of godlike old monsters like Tianyunzi. After years of searching, a few of these old monsters had already gathered a wealth of information about the possible existence of Wang Lin inside the immortal mansion. Even after the great catastrophe that led to the collapse of the immortal realm, Wang Lin had survived, showing just how powerful his cultivation was. However, he had been severely injured and had to retreat to a secluded place to heal. All the signs pointed to the immortal cave mansion deep within the land of demon spirits being the place where Wang Lin chose to meditate. Entering the secluded place where the former immortal emperor, the ruler of the immortal realm, once meditated, especially when this immortal emperor was still wounded, was enough to excite any godlike cultivator. Moreover, over the years, through multiple expeditions into the land of demon spirits, it had become almost certain that the person inside the immortal mansion had yet to recover. As Tianyunzi's invitation was sent out, Ling Tianho also emerged from deep underground. He too harbored ambitions for the land of demon spirits. Having made prior arrangements, he now sent a jade slip, awaiting the arrival of his allies. In no time, cultivators from all across the Tianyun star domain arrived. Some came from various cultivation stars, and a few were invited, while others came uninvited. This wasn't something that could be kept a secret. However, with the ongoing battles between Luotian and the Alliance growing increasingly intense, with small skirmishes erupting almost daily and even medium-sized battles breaking out occasionally, only a handful of true godlike cultivators had arrived. Moreover, the identity of the Tianyun sect's elder council members deterred any would-be opportunists from trying to sneak in. 10 days passed quickly. At the entrance of the tidal zone, cultivators had been gathering for several days. By now, the crowd had grown dense. Even cultivators from Tianyun Star were rushing to get there, hoping to enter the land of demon spirits and take advantage of any opportunity that might arise. On the 10th day, Tianyunzi arrived. He walked alone through the void, one step at a time, dressed in a white robe, his calm expression betraying no emotion. His long white hair fluttered slightly with each step, making him appear like a true immortal. Moreover, beneath his feet was a pitch-black trident. Every time Tian Yunzi's foot touched the ground, it would land upon the trident. Cultivators who knew Tian Yunzi had heard that he almost never used magical artifacts, relying solely on his vast array of immortal arts to shake the heavens and earth. At this moment, when all eyes were focused on the trident beneath Tian Yunzi's feet, the cultivators immediately felt a shock in their hearts. Yet, no one spoke, and they all stepped aside, allowing Tian Yunzi to pass and ascend to the tidal zone above. Underneath Tian Yunzi was the tidal zone, the massive vortex continuously spinning, yet no pull emanated from it. This was the gate to the land of demon spirits. The appearance of Tian Yunzi instantly silenced the surroundings. His expression remained unchanged, his face betraying no joy or anger as he stood there, gazing at the tide, as if lost in thought. Before long, the fluctuations of elemental energy from afar gradually grew stronger, signaling the arrival of the old monsters. Behind Tian Yunzi came the elder who had once sat cross-legged on a gourd above Tianyun sect during Wang Lin's return. This elder was followed by 9 disciples. As the gourd floated, it rose into the air above the tidal zone. The elder smiled slightly and greeted Tian Yunzi. Tian Yunzi nodded with a smile. The two exchanged no further words. After the elder arrived, about a quarter of an hour later, colorful clouds began to spread across the starry sky. These clouds were formed by magical arts, so their appearance in the sky was unsurprising. Atop the clouds stood a beautiful middle-aged woman. Behind her were 4 young maidens. This was the same countrywoman who had once invited Wang Lin. The 4 young women accompanying her were the very same 4 from that day. One of them, a maiden in a pink dress, was scanning her surroundings, as if searching for something. She was the one whom Ling Tianho had mentioned, suspected to be the Kungsu Holy Maiden. Soon after, several more old eccentrics arrived one after another. Although these cultivators had stepped into the second step, most were at the glimpse of Nirvana stage. They scattered upon arrival, engaging in quiet discussions with their acquaintances. Among them were many cultivators from beyond the Destiny Star domain. Some chatted in pairs or small groups, while others remained alone. However, their gazes frequently drifted toward the enormous vortex over the tidal zone. Before long, a sudden whistling sound echoed from the distant stars. Beams of golden light appeared and swiftly gathered above the tidal zone. As the golden light shifted, it seemed to blanket the entire starry sky. Eventually, the lights merged and burst forth in a dazzling radiance. From within this golden brilliance, a figure gradually emerged. The man had long hair flowing behind him, moving as if stirred by an invisible wind. His towering frame stood there like a battle-hardened immortal. He appeared to be in his 40s, his face rugged and resolute. Lightning seemed to flash within his eyes, shaking the hearts of those who looked upon him. His mere presence commanded immense authority. Even among the many powerful cultivators present, none could meet his gaze. One after another, they lowered their heads in deference. He wore a long purple robe, and a 3-eyed purple sable rested on his shoulder. The sable's gaze was equally sharp and cold, its claws occasionally swiping across its face. At the moment of this man's arrival, Tian Yunzi looked up and frowned slightly. The elder seated atop a gourd turned grim at once. Tian Yunzi, old friend, it has been many years. Today, I came by invitation, perhaps a chance for us to catch up, the purple-robed man said with a faint smile. Elder son, you are too courteous, Tian Yunzi replied calmly, casting a brief glance at him. The 3-eyed sable on elder son's shoulder glanced around with bright, intelligent eyes, occasionally lifting its paw to groom its face. Shortly after elder son appeared, sword energy began to swirl through the starry sky. In the distance, beams of sword light flickered, as though 10,000 sword rays were spreading. Amid the radiance, a crimson Qilin stepped across the stars, heading straight for the gathering. Seated cross-legged atop the Qilin was a gaunt old man, sword venerable Ling Tianho. Before he even arrived, his laughter rang out. Brother son, you are swift as always. Along the way, I kept wondering whether you would make it. Elder son smiled. Sword venerable, how could I refuse your invitation? Not only have I come, but that one you invited has also agreed to attend." Ling Tianho's eyes gleamed brightly, a flash of joy crossing his face. Meanwhile, beneath the tides, changes were stirring in the land of demonic spirits. The land of demonic spirits was divided into 9 demon spirit counties. In recent centuries, a tribe known as the Soul Refining Tribe had risen as a formidable force within the Heavenly Demon Province and Flame Demon Province. Aggressive and relentless, the tribe had devoured and assimilated many other tribes. By now, it had become one of the most dominant powers in the 2 provinces. Its members now numbered in the millions. Even the armies of the 2 provinces viewed them with great caution. Yet strangely, despite this rapid expansion, the ancient demons had taken no action, an enigma that puzzled many. What the provincial armies feared most was the tribe's incredible magical abilities. Almost every tribesman could wield great immortal arts. With a single soul banner, they could summon countless soul essences, merging them into soul beasts capable of devouring all enemies. Several of their leaders possessed astonishing power. One tribesman named 13 had, through the frenzied collection and refinement of soul essences, gained enough strength to contend with a demon commander. Even more terrifying was their grand elder, Ouyang Hua, who commanded 99 soul banners. If unleashed all at once, they could manifest billions of soul essences, blanketing the heavens and earth with overwhelming might. Though the native inhabitants of the land of demonic spirits differed in body and cultivation from regular cultivators, the tribe's growth had nonetheless been astonishing. This rapid development meant that over the past centuries, they had consumed an extraordinary number of soul essences. Indeed, the Soul Refining Tribe had countless branches spread across nearly every corner of the 9 demon spirit counties. They had scoured every ancient battlefield, every county war, and every tribe in search of soul essences. Today, the entire tribe had mobilized. Millions of Soul Refining Tribe members, each carrying a soul banner, were marching toward the Flame Demon Province. From afar, it looked as though a vast tide of banners and clouds was surging across the land, a truly awe-inspiring sight. In the Fire Demon Province, there were no ancient demons, and over the past few hundred years, it had fragmented into pieces. Originally occupied by the Heavenly Demon Province, it had suffered devastating losses and was unable to recover in a short time, forcing them to give up. This opportunity was seized by the Soul Refining Tribe. After hundreds of years of battles, on this day, the Soul Refining Tribe, under the leadership of Ouyang Hua and 13 other chiefs, launched the County Conquest War. Among the army, there was a black stone statue carried by more than 10 people. Every member of the Soul Refining Tribe, upon gazing at this statue, showed fervent reverence in their eyes. Over the past few centuries, no one had forgotten it. Even newly joined members listened daily to the endless immortal legends about the person depicted in this statue. The carving on this statue represented the soul of their Soul Refining Tribe. It depicted their king, their ancestor. Day after day, year after year, under the unwavering worship of millions, the statue seemed to possess a mysterious power, growing increasingly smooth and round. The ancestor may have left, but we firmly believe that one day, the ancestor will return. The ancestor will never forget us. Ling Tianho, sitting atop a fiery red Qilin, heard the words of the purple-robed man with the surname Sun, and a fleeting joy flashed in his eyes. But he didn't ask too many questions. Instead, he moved to a nearby position and focused his gaze on the tidal vortex below. As time passed, and no one else arrived, Ling Tianho furrowed his brows. He pulled his gaze from the vortex and looked into the distance. Not just him, even the elderly man sitting on the gourd frowned, gazing into the endless void as if waiting for something. Only Tian Yunzi remained unchanged, his expression calm, showing no sign of change, just quietly waiting. As time slowly passed, many cultivators outside the tidal zone began to murmur. Some informed ones knew a bit of news, but most cultivators had little idea and were confused about what the powerful cultivators were waiting for. At the moment when the murmurs gradually grew louder, Tian Yunzi suddenly looked up, staring into the distant starry sky, his eyes flashing with an intriguing expression. They're coming. After Tian Yunzi sensed something, The purple-robed man with the surname Sun also looked toward the distance. He had already learned everything from Ling Tianho and secretly admired Wang Lin. To be able to survive under Tian Yunzi's manipulation until now, this is no weakling. Behind Sun were Ling Tianho, the old man sitting cross-legged on the gourd, the middle-aged beauty who resembled a country woman, and a black-robed man who looked unremarkable at first glance. But no cultivator within 100 yards dared approach him. The four of them almost simultaneously sensed something, their gazes shifting toward the starry sky. Soon after, the remaining old monsters and a few cultivators followed suit. In the distant starry sky, a strange sound began to howl, gradually catching the attention of all the cultivators. Moments later, a gasp of astonishment spread through the crowd, as almost everyone who saw the scene in the distance displayed shock in their eyes. In the starry sky ahead, a massive creature about 100 meters in size was charging towards them, its four limbs firmly planted on the ground. A giant demon mount. Someone in the crowd immediately recognized the identity of the creature. This is no ordinary giant demon. Look at the mark on its forehead. This is definitely a member of the royal family of the giant demon clan. Among the cultivators outside the tidal zone, someone recognized Reggie. A cultivator with a giant demon mount must be a great expert. But who exactly is this person? This 100-meter giant demon mount clearly possesses its innate divine abilities. Just the giant demon itself is already extremely powerful. The cultivator riding on it must be extraordinary. Not necessarily. Perhaps this person has a deep connection with the giant demon clan. In fact, their cultivation might not be that high. The discussions among the surrounding cultivators erupted like a wave as the appearance of the giant demon mount stirred up a commotion. As the mount approached, someone finally saw clearly who was riding it. One glance was enough to make them gasp. Atop the giant demon mount were four people. All four were glimpses of Nirvana cultivators, and three of them were already famous on Tianyan Star. The three Masters of Dust Path. The three Masters of Dust Path are all glimpses of Nirvana cultivators. When they act together, even late-stage glimpses of Nirvana cultivators find them difficult to deal with. Why are the three Masters of Dust Path riding on this giant demon mount? Does this mount belong to them? There's also that unfamiliar cultivator with the big head. His cultivation is also glimpse of Nirvana. Four glimpses of Nirvana cultivators. Any one of them could stir up a storm, and they are existences that most cultivators look up to. To see all four of them together at this moment, there must be some deep mystery. As more and more cultivators recognized the person on the back of the giant demon clan mount, a surge of discussion erupted, replaced immediately by an overwhelming shock. Even Ling Tianho and the others were momentarily stunned, their eyes flashing with a sharp light. There, on Reggie's back, behind the three Masters of Dust Path and two, as Reggie drew closer, appeared an elderly figure in red. The old man was massive, like a mountain of flesh. From afar, his presence carried a shocking force, and his cultivation at the early pure Nirvana stage spread out, causing those with a lower cultivation to experience a tremor in their minds. Floating Wind Master. This giant elder, Floating Wind Master, was well known within the Destiny Star region, and as soon as he appeared, many instantly recognized him. To think Floating Wind Master is now aiding Wang Lin. The elder sitting on the gourd blinked slightly, his eyes flickering. If it were just the three Masters of Dust Path and two, he wouldn't have taken them seriously. But Floating Wind Master was different. Beside Floating Wind Master stood a silver fur maiden. Her eyes were sharp and lively, emanating a chilling aura that seemed like a pair of scissors capable of severing any divine sense that dared approach. Another early pure Nirvana cultivator. A wave of astonishment rose among the surrounding cultivators. But that wasn't all. Not far behind the silver fur maiden, the rebellious figure of Situ Nan, wearing a cold smile that seemed to look down on the world, left all the onlookers completely stunned. Another early pure Nirvana cultivator. I know him. That's Situ Nan, the renowned master of the Rouge Palace on Destiny Star. The middle-aged woman, dressed like a country woman, frowned with distaste. Though she didn't live on Destiny Star, she had heard of Situ Nan's infamous reputation. She couldn't understand why a master at the early pure Nirvana stage would behave in such a despicable manner. Tian Yunzi's expression remained calm as he gazed at the figures atop the giant demon mount, not revealing a hint of emotion. The impact of the 3 early pure Nirvana cultivators was too great. It far surpassed the shock caused by the 4 glimpses of Nirvana cultivators before. 4 glimpses of Nirvana cultivators, 3 early pure Nirvana old monsters. Who is it that possesses such influence to have these 7 come to their aid? Reggie's speed gradually slowed. But even so, he was now not far from the crowd, and Wang Lin's figure slowly emerged before everyone. Clad in snow-white robes, with long hair billowing in the wind, his expression cold and indifferent, his eyes holding the essence of the sun and moon. Wang Lin stood calmly between the 3 masters of Dust Path, the 2, Floating Wind Master, Silver Fur Maiden, and Situnan. At that moment, countless cultivators focused their gazes upon him. At the instant Wang Lin appeared, the purple-robed man with the star marks ferret on his shoulder suddenly looked up. His sharp eyes gleamed strangely, and his body subtly trembled. Just as he was about to rush out, Wang Lin casually smiled and gave him a slight fist salute. The purple-robed man smiled back, nodding, his focus shifting back to the ferret on his shoulder. He had raised it since childhood and cherished it deeply. The odd behavior of the ferret earlier had drawn his attention, but now, it seemed to have returned to normal, which puzzled him. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. As Reggie approached, he remained composed and gave Tian Yunzi and the others a fist salute. He spoke calmly. "I apologize for the delay, fellow cultivators. I had some matters to attend to after receiving the invitation." Ling Tianho stared at Wang Lin, a glint of wariness flashing in his eyes. He would never forget the terrifying light from before. If he hadn't escaped quickly, and if the other beam of light hadn't absorbed the world's energy, he might not have been standing here today. His attitude toward Wang Lin had changed. He no longer dared to provoke him easily. A smile appeared on his face as he shook his head and said, "There's no need to be so polite, Wang Daoist. Just call me Ling Tianho." As soon as these words left his mouth, the surrounding cultivators erupted into exclamations of disbelief. All eyes were now fixed on Wang Lin. Ling Tianho was practically a legend within the Destiny Star region, second only to Tian Yunzi in fame. To have him address Wang Lin as a fellow cultivator was a recognition that few could ever claim. At this moment, Ling Tianho's words caused everyone to tremble inwardly. Tian Yunzi glanced at Wang Lin, his expression unchanged, as if the events of the past few months had never occurred. He gave a slight nod and said slowly, "It's fine." Wang Lin's gaze sharpened, and without changing his expression, he gave a fist salute to the elders sitting on the gourd and the middle-aged woman dressed like a country woman. He then looked over at the solitary black-clad man in the distance, who had a cold, indifferent expression, and gave him a slight fist salute as well. The cold man in black returned the salute, his expression still as cold as ever. "Everyone's here. Initiate the East Sea Tide." With a sweep of his wide sleeves, Tian Yunzi released a burst of 7-colored light that instantly coalesced into a token. Though only palm-sized, it radiated a dazzling brilliance. In the blink of an eye, just as most of the surrounding cultivators squinted from the glare, the token shot straight toward the center of the tidal vortex. This activation was not the usual mechanism of the tidal zone. As such, there was none of the terrifying suction force from before. Instead, the moment the token dropped into the abyss, a reverse-spinning vortex emerged. The vortex expanded rapidly, and in an instant, it became a black hole. A familiar demonic aura slowly seeped out, something Wang Lin recognized all too well. All 4 immortal abodes must be opened before the 5th cave mansion can be accessed. I'll go ahead and wait for your good news. Tian Yunzi's figure blurred, transforming into a streak of 7-colored light. With his trident in tow, he plunged into the black hole. Wang Lin's eyes briefly swept over the trident. He had noticed it earlier, and the familiar aura it gave off allowed him to immediately confirm. It was the very artifact crafted by 2C years ago. He had intended to retrieve it after the royal divine ability had fully taken form, but that moment never came, and 2C never returned. As he watched the trident vanish with Tian Yunzi into the black hole, a trace of melancholy rose in Wang Lin's eyes. an echo of two seas' unfulfilled regret. At the same time, Ling Tianhou and the man in the purple robe transformed into twin streaks of light, racing toward the black hole. But they came to an abrupt halt almost immediately. Just as Wang Lin prepared to enter, he suddenly turned sharply toward the starry sky. A moment earlier, the old man atop the gourd and Xun'er had already shifted their gaze in that direction. From the distant sky, a ripple twisted through the void. In the blink of an eye, an old man's silhouette materialized and, with a single step, arrived nearby. Seeing this, both Ling Tianhou and the purple-robed man immediately stopped. The latter's expression turned unusually respectful as he bowed and said, "Sun Shan greets the Grand Elder." Though Sun Shan himself held the title of Elder, he was not part of the Alliance Elder Council. Yet the sincerity in his expression showed he harbored profound respect for this newcomer. "Junior greets the Grand Elder," Ling Tianhou also said with a rare tone of reverence. Given his usual temperament, there were very few who could earn such a response from him. Wang Lin's pupils contracted. The technique this elder had used upon arrival clearly fused with the heavens themselves, and the aura emanating from him struck Wang Lin with an instinctive sense of dread. This aura was completely different from Tian Yunzi's. If Tian Yunzi was like a boundless, unfathomable sea, then this elder was a colossal mountain piercing the heavens, a towering presence whose pressure immediately caused the weaker cultivators nearby to turn pale. Many even spat out blood and stumbled back. Xun'er's eyes flickered, and he muttered, "Shattered nirvana." After a moment of silence, a cold smirk curled at the corners of his lips. The innate arrogance and defiant spirit in his bones sparked a sharp gleam in his gaze. If you want to truly thrive in the cultivation world, you need strength that can suppress the very heavens. Shattered nirvana. I was far too complacent before. The elder wore a golden robe, his hair streaked black and white, and carried an air of deep age. His expression remained calm as he glanced at Ling Tianhou, a faint smile of approval appearing on his face. "How long has it been since we last met?" A look of remembrance passed over Ling Tianhou's face. With a sigh, he respectfully replied, "I've long since lost track. Far too long." The elder gave a long sigh. "Back then, you and Tian Yunzi were chosen together. I personally escorted both of you into the Kungsu Holy Land. Now, in a blink of an eye, tens of thousands of years have passed. One of you has become an Alliance Elder, someone even I must tread carefully around. The other, your cultivation has reached this remarkable level." Ling Tianhou remained silent, though the look in his eyes deepened with memories. "A few months ago, when I received your jade slip, I hesitated. I nearly didn't come. After all, the battle at Luotian Star Domain is still intense, and my senior brother Zhong Xuanzi is unable to leave his post. But then I thought of what lies between you and Tian Yunzi, and I decided it was time. Time to settle the past between you two." Reggie's body further shrank to the size of a tall man, stepping forward as he, along with the others, entered the swirling vortex. The old man sitting cross-legged on the gourd and the cold, aloof figure of the man in black both vanished in an instant, entering the black hole. As for the middle-aged beauty, who resembled a village woman, she hesitated, glancing at the young woman beside her dressed in pink. The woman in pink smiled faintly, like a blooming rose, and softly spoke, "Aunt Xia, don't worry. In the land of demonic spirits, Xishuan has the magical artifact given by eldest senior sister for protection. There's no need to fear. Besides, didn't second senior sister send senior void master to join us?" The middle-aged woman pondered for a moment, then nodded, bringing the four women around her into the black hole. Among them, Qianqin's gaze was complex. She had been watching Wang Lin since he first appeared. Now, the thought of being in the land of demonic spirits with him made her sigh inwardly, her heart secretly wondering, "I wonder if he still remembers me." After the others, a large number of cultivators rushed toward the black hole, eager to enter. However, there were too many of them. As soon as a few had entered, the black hole suddenly slowed its rotation, reversing direction in an instant, vanishing without a trace. Some cultivators who were half inside the black hole had their bodies torn apart by the abrupt change, screaming in agony. This caused the remaining cultivators to retreat quickly. The black hole, now carrying a faint scent of blood, disappeared, as if a door had been shut, preventing anyone else from entering. Regret filled the air as the surrounding cultivators slowly dispersed. Some were unwilling to leave, but after waiting for days, they eventually gave up and departed, leaving the East Sea Tide once again in peaceful silence. In the land of demonic spirits, the crimson sun hung high in the sky, and waves of heat swirled in the wind, moving across the earth. Corpses lay scattered on the ground, emitting a rotten stench, attracting numerous vultures like demonic spirits that absorbed the death energy from the bodies. This was just one corner of Flame Demon Province. Looking across the entire province, the number of corpses was staggering. Under the scorching heat, the decay progressed rapidly. The wind blew through, lifting the clothes off the corpses, exposing their blackened skin beneath. A great battle had spread through Flame Demon Province. With the attack from the Soul Refining Tribe, the already shattered province saw one faction after another collapse. If they did not surrender, they would perish. Further away, in the capital city of Flame Demon Province, once home to one of the 9 ancient demons, the last remaining force now occupied it. This force had once been the elite of the province's soldiers, known as the Fire Demon Spirit Army, and even though it had suffered greatly after the defeat of Flame Demon Province years ago, it remained the strongest faction, controlling the capital and holding on to the remaining legitimacy of the province. At this moment, outside Fire Demon City, the Soul Refining Tribe's army surrounded it tightly. In the sky, countless tribespeople floated, each surrounded by several large banners, creating a thick black mist that engulfed the surroundings. Within this mist, eerie, soul-chilling wails echoed, almost like a storm sweeping across the land. The cries of tormented souls became the only sound in the air. Among the Soul Refining Tribe's army, just outside the main gate of Fire Demon City, a massive black stone statue was being carried by several of the tribe's people. The faces of those carrying the statue were filled with fervent excitement. To be chosen from millions to carry the ancestor statue was the greatest honor of their lives, a shining glory. In the sky, an elder appeared. His expression exuded authority as he wore a black robe. Around him, dozens of large banners fluttered, forming a swirling black vortex. Demon Commander Mu Yun, Xiejin, it's come to this. Will you two surrender, or not? The elder's voice sounded like a cold wind, and as he spoke, a sharp howl echoed from the black whirlwind surrounding him, reaching straight into the heavens. As if that wasn't enough, the moment his voice rang out, millions of Soul Refining Tribe members surrounding Fire Demon City roared in unison. Surrender or not? The roar of millions of voices was beyond description, as though the heavens themselves were trembling. The sound was louder than thunder and sent shockwaves through the remaining demon soldiers inside Fire Demon City. Many of them collapsed, blood pouring from their 7 orifices. Oyanghua, don't push too far. A furious voice came from the city walls. A large man in armor, which resembled a scorpion from afar, shouted angrily. His bloodshot eyes were filled with hatred as he leapt into the air, not heading toward the elder in the sky, but toward the black stone statue amidst the crowd. Even if I die, I will destroy this thing. With a speed so fast it left only a shadow behind, the man arrived next to the statue in an instant. Raising his right hand, he shouted and struck it down with all his might. But strangely, everyone from the Soul Refining Tribe around them seemed to be sneering. Even Oyanghua was coldly laughing without stopping them. At the moment the giant man's right hand came crashing down, an icy cold voice suddenly echoed in his ears. Anyone who tries to harm my master's statue will die. At the same time, a man with a very ordinary appearance moved. He wore black clothes, and an extreme coldness emanated from his entire body. If anyone familiar with Wang Lin were to see him, they would be shocked, as this man resembled Wang Lin in temperament, with at least 6 or 7 points of similarity. The man stepped forward, casually waved his right hand, and a punch shot out. Immediately, countless souls surged from his body, merging into the punch's wind, forming a violent storm that crashed into the giant man with a loud boom. The giant man spat out a mouthful of blood, his armor cracking inch by inch, and the sound of his bones shattering echoed throughout his body. The strongest of the Soul Refining Tribe, 13. The giant man forced a bitter smile, his body exploding with a loud crash, completely collapsing. He was already at his last gasp, and now with this devastating blow, he died instantly. Ouyang Hua laughed loudly, pointing toward the fire demon capital with his right hand and shouted, "Soul, annihilation." As soon as the words left his mouth, millions of people from the surrounding tribes immediately raised their great banners. In an instant, countless souls poured out, forming an immense, unimaginable black fog that spread across the entire fire demon province, converging toward the fire demon capital. Descend. A woman in green armor on the city walls of the fire demon capital sighed lightly. In that moment, the fire demon province was completely transformed into the Soul Refining Tribe's capital. The Soul Refining Tribe became one of the 9 major forces in the land of demonic spirits. The black stone statue would be placed in the area where the ancient demon spirit once resided, becoming the spiritual anchor of the Soul Refining Tribe, much like the ancient demon from years past. Just as 13 lifted his foot, preparing to head toward the capital, his body suddenly shook violently. His cold expression shattered in an instant, replaced by an emotion that hadn't appeared in centuries, excitement. Trembling, he abruptly lifted his head. "Ancestor, you've returned."